So now we are learning how to make sleeve. So we need to measure bicep, elbow position. Here, if we're doing a long sleeve, elbow position and sleeve length. We all know how to measure? Now I have a paper and you're gonna have to mark the, in the middle of that paper, mark the straight line, which is gonna be a grade line. Middle of the paper. And the paper width, you choose based on your muscle plus about 4 inches. Let's say if your muscle is 15 inch, you add 4 inches, it's gonna be 19 inches. To space to work, you know, just the paper.
Your bicep muscle?
Yeah, bicep, because bicep is the widest part of the sleeve. So you need to add a little extra and cut the paper accordingly. For the length of the paper, it's the sleeve length. Now we're doing, let's say we're doing about 8 or 9 inch long sleeve. Okay, so now I will take this paper and I will fold it in half like this. The sleeve, guys, have critical few measurements. The muscle and the cap height. Do you know what cap height is? So sleeve looks like this. I'm just gonna do roughly what the sleeve looks like. Bum, 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 bum. Yep. This is the sleeve. You all seen the pattern, right? Mm-hmm. So this part, just for the terminology,
that's the cap.
this is the cap height.
Okay.
So cap height is the underarm level. This is the underarm level. This goes underarm. So if your armhole is here, this goes into the armhole right now, right? Underarm level to the highest point is the cap height. Muscle, I measure 1 inch below underarm. This is the muscle. So the muscle and the cap height is what you have to play with to match to your armhole, okay? So lower cap height, sleeve is more comfortable. There's more lift to the sleeve. So like cap height is here. So drop shoulder styles have lower cap height. The set-in sleeve styles have a regular cap height, but higher cap height restricts the lift. It's hard to lift. Okay. So when I make my sleeve with 45-inch angle is nice and clean. So when you lift it up, this may go up after that, but if I'm at 45-inch angle and it doesn't go up, it's a nice tailored sleeve. Okay. And that's what we're gonna make, okay?
Okay.
So, so now we have a muscle measurements, right? So let's say I want to example my muscle, personally, because I'm making this for my sloper, and my muscle is, I know it's 12. So Keti's muscle is 12 inches. So I'm gonna add 1 inch just in case, and I'm gonna make muscle 13, okay? 12 for 12-inch person. Again, if this style have a stretch, you can do less. If you're doing a knee, you can do less than your muscle. For knees, for my muscle, I do 11, you know, and it fits right. Okay. So you just have to determine what muscle measurement you want for this certain fabric and the client, okay? So I'm doing a 13-inch muscle now. And this is, okay, so now the cap height, I'll calculate as follows for any muscle. So do you remember how I taught you the armhole depths on the dress form? It was 6 to 6.5, remember that? right? How you measure it, remember? So it's on my handout here. Armhole depth is measured from here to here. If you already have a dress muslin made and you can measure this way, if you can do that, then take the measurements. Let's say if it's a 6 inch, deduct half inch to 3/4. So if the armhole on the dress form is 6 or 6.5, which is standard, remember? So deduct half inch to 3/4, and that's your cap height. So for 6.5, cap height will be 5 3/4, and for 6 minus half or 3/4 will be 5.5 to 5.25. That's my starting point.
So
Okay?
just one question. So you know where this goes there? That is where you actually put the armhole.
Seam.
Yes,
Yeah,
put the
seam.
seam.
Okay, it's measured to the seam, just like this in my handout, okay? And deduct half or 3/4.
And that's the cap height.
Yeah. Now, another way, if you don't have the something like that, right? Then you're gonna do, if you have to have a pattern, then you take your pattern, just like in the handout here, from here to here, underarm level, just like this, and measure straight armhole from HPA. HPA is high point of armhole, HPA abbreviation, to underarm minus 1.5 inch for woven and 2 inch for knits. We can try both ways and see where do we go from here, okay? So now I can just take it a little. Okay, so let's start from the cap height down, or you can do from the underarm level up, doesn't matter, okay? So this is a cap height, and I said cap height will be 5 3/4. Five 3/4 is right here, and here, and here. So that's why I like this dotted line. You just follow the dotted line. So this is under arm level. Okay? Perpendicular. This means perpendicular. Everybody, mark this line for me, please.
Okay. I just want to check.
So 0.5. Add 1 inch to bicep. Divide in half. Mark horizontal line 1 inch below underarm. Okay? So here, 1 inch to bicep. So my bicep was 12 plus 1 inch is 13. The divide into half is 6.5, right? So I'm gonna mark 6.5, 1 inch below underarm. 6.5 is right here. Okay, so this is my muscle. Everybody do the same thing. Create 1/8 angle from underarm to bicep. 1/8 angle is this. This is the straight line, right? 1/8 angle will be right here like this.
Okay.
1/8 angle. Okay, we're gonna skip 0.7 because this is about long sleeve. We can go back to this. So 0.8. Draft 3/4 perpendicular line at top of sleeve cap and connect with the underarm with a straight dotted line, sketch C, sketch C. So this is how am I doing?
Okay. This one.
Yep.
3/4 of an inch.
3/4 straight line like this, 3/4 here from cap, and here connect these two. like this. Okay, so now next, extend 3/8 from middle of the dotted line. Use this point to pivot armhole curve ruler and create S-shaped curve. I didn't invent this. This is same as in Armstrong book. So I don't, this part here. Okay, this is very basic way of doing the sleeve, but this 3/8 is I invented. So in the middle, you extend 3/8. That gives you a guideline for the S-shaped curve. And then you take the S-shaped curve from here and ruler like this.
Okay.
See, it's like big, like you can do it this way or this way just to make a smooth line, and this is keeping straight like here, like this, and join this here. Okay?
And where does that 3/8?
To stop set
At the middle.
in the middle.
In the middle.
So in the middle of this would be 8 1/4. It would be somewhere here. Extension. Okay, and from this point down, right? So you're gonna flip the curve, flip this one, and create the S shape. Trick is when you get to this, make sure this is a curve, or this is a smooth curve, guys. So you created the S shape. So now I have, this is the back of the sleeve. Okay? Now I'm gonna take my tracing wheel and trace this to the other side before I open. And this up to this point. Okay? And now I open this. And then I'm gonna draw the line. It's nice, right? See how nice and smooth it is, right? So this is my front, and I'm gonna teach you what to do with the front. So when you trace, do me a favor, trace also this point. There you have that 3/4. Yeah, 3/8 mark. Okay? Now I need to measure my armhole on my sloper. And this is how I'm measuring armhole. So you need to do from seam to seam. That's why you need to have a seam lines to measure armhole. And you can do, in the computer I showed you how easy it is, right?
Yeah.
So you just have to walk the tape like this. Walk, walk, walk the tape.
And is this the front?
We do, it doesn't matter, both. So, and anything that you get, you write the measurement. My front armhole is 9 5/8. So I'm gonna write down on the pattern. And my back armhole my back armhole here is 8 3/4. Okay, and then I'm gonna add up and see what my total armhole is. And do that for me, and I'll have to come over and double check. Okay, everybody measured armhole curve and record it right next to your sleeve. And now I will do the front sleeve. front sleeve curve, and then after that I'm gonna measure the sleeve around with my measure tape, okay? So front sleeve is, what you do is this. Front sleeve, guys, have to be quarter more in than back sleeve because we don't need as much fabric in the front than what we need in the back. So what you're gonna do is you take in that spot where we had this mark, right? You go in a quarter with your ruler, just like this. And then you take your armhole curve, and with your armhole curve, show me this 1 second. Armhole curve, you're gonna re-scoop this front like this, and then we need more curve here, like this. So it has to be more curved right here. So I'm just gonna curve a little bit deeper at the front. See what I mean? This is my front armhole. So no more the back like this, and this is my front armhole, which goes in quarter more than the back armhole.
Quarter more.
Yep. So now what I want to do is I want to measure this curve and compare to my armhole curve, okay? So I will measure this like this, walk the tape. Most time consuming is to match the sleeve to the armhole.
Yeah, I saw that Instagram.
Yeah,
You did.
especially for jacket, oh my God.
I can imagine.
Okay, I am so good, guys, I can't believe this.
Is it exact?
So my sleeve is 19. Okay, my armhole on the pattern was 18 3/8. This is a super perfect. This is like a perfect. You know, like what happened is sleeve need to be about 5/8 bigger than the armhole. And my formula worked like perfectly in my case. So we have to see what happens with your measurements. Okay?
Cool.
And classes in action. Okay, guys. So now we learned how to make sleeve, and we have our sloper for armhole. So this is our front armhole, this is our back armhole. So I would suggest you to put notches, like a 3 1/4 below for front, and 3 1/4 below for back, but back gets 2 notches. So this way you distinguish which is the back and which is the front. Now we know our sleeve looks like this. We already drafted a sleeve. Looks beautiful, everybody's sleeve. This is the front and this is the back. Now we measured this curve. For example, in my case, I got 18 3/8, and then I measured manually this curve, and I got 19. It's perfect, and I can start walking the sleeve around the armhole, and I'll display how you walk the sleeve around the armhole. I'm ready, okay? But some of you are not ready, because some of you, when you measured, you got about an inch difference, or inch smaller, inch larger. It's possible to have, or in your case, you got exactly the same. We need the sleeve to be larger circumference than the armhole, because we need ease here. And the reason we need ease here, because we have a bump here. Like if this sleeve is here, there's a bump here. So if it's not ease, that ease creates a little bump to accommodate for that bump that we have in our bones, all right? So the ease I normally do, it all depends on the fabric. Some fabric is 3/4, some fabric 5/8. Knits, no ease needed, because knits gives stretches, so you don't need any ease. And I can teach you how to ease the sleeve into armhole, or you watch the YouTube video, don't waste my time. Okay, so Now, example, we got this 18 and 3/8. We got also this, let's say 18 and a quarter. Example, right? So this is smaller than this. What do? I need to evaluate how do I match this into this. So if this one is larger, I can do one thing. I can raise my armhole like this, and it becomes smaller. Sorry.
Oh, you
Wow.
know.
Okay. Yeah, big storm. Okay. So I raise this armhole. You evaluate when you fit. Like, can I raise the armhole? Maybe not. Okay. Or can I go? So I need to reduce this to match this, or I need to increase this to match this.
Okay.
So I can reduce this by raising armhole, by reducing in the chest, that will reduce. It's a plain geometry, you know. And then for the sleeve, if it's small, maybe I should increase the muscle, or I should increase the cap height. Do you understand? All this is gonna make these two match. You just analyze your fit, your aesthetics, what you wanna do, and based on that, you make an assumption of how do you match the sleeve into the muscle. For example, in Mel's case, I saw we got 5 3/4 cap height. We definitely can use a higher cap height for the size large, so she can go to 6 cap height. In some other people's case, maybe I give extra 1.25 inches for the muscle instead of inch extra for the muscle. Do you understand?
Yes.
Or maybe my chest has room to reduce. All these things, like, you can change this or change this to match each other. And that's what we're gonna do now, okay? Okay, so now I'm adding my notches. My notch, I said I want 3 1/4 in the front. Here is my notch, 3 1/4 from the shoulder seam. And here, for all sizes, you can do same unless it's huge difference.
Okay.
You know, you can do 3 1/8.
Okay.
And you can do 3 1/4, doesn't matter. 3 1/4 is here. Normally it doesn't grade. Okay, and then I do 2 notches in the back. And this sign is notch. Okay, so here,
I'm sorry, is that from the top or from the seam?
from the seam, I take my sleeve and add seam allowances. So let me keep going down because we're gonna use this later to do a long sleeve, so I can keep going down this angle as long as I can, okay? And then I add seam allowance. Let's do 1/2 inch at the side like this, and then let's do here 3/8. Let's start from the back. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this. My scissors, thank you. I'm gonna take the chocolate one for my husband. He likes the sweets.
Sure.
Thank you.
That's very nice.
It is. Okay. See here? I cut this whole thing and then I can cut the front. Because this is very precise for me to cut unfold. I prefer to cut unfold just like this. I'm curious to see what did I get my cap width. Remember I kept telling you the cap width is important?
Yeah.
Cap width is somewhere here, so I'll double check, because if you can adjustment cap width, you can also increase the curve. So my cap width is perfect, like 8 1/4 is 8 to 8 1/4 is good cap width for the size 8. So this is 8 1/4 at 3 1/4 down. And when we do the fitting, you'll see how important that is. I can even do 8 if I need to. So now I'm ready to do rotation, which is like this, guys. So this is the back, this is the back. You can take this, you can see seam to seam, okay? You can even, if you don't see, you just take and when you rotate this sleeve around the armhole, you just do push pin like this and keep going like you're going with this sewing machine. Keep going like an inch away. Keep going, dum, 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 dum. Rotate the sleeve like this. You may have to practice slow, and then when you get here, do the notch, okay? Match the notch, keep rotating. I don't need to rotate here. Match the notch. Okay, now we keep rotating. You can also, like if you take a home patterns, you can check how accurate those patterns are. Uh-oh, this may be too big. I'll keep bragging, but this looks big. Okay. So, you know, it's never right until you rotate. That's when you know what's right, you know? So this was my seam line. This is my seam allowance. Here is this. This was my seam allowance, 1/2 inch, right? Okay.
Keti, you don't have the. Do you have the 5/8 ease in already, or is that
Yes,
after?
yes. That's what because that's why I thought that 19 with 18 and 5/8 was good
Yeah.
to start with.
So
Okay.
then, so will it then not match exactly then at the top?
Can you watch this? Here. That's why I started from inseam so that I can see how much ease I have. Here, this is my notch for the front, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is where back ended. So this can tell me how much ease I have
Okay.
once I go to the shoulder seam. Oh, no, it's perfect. It's perfect. I told you I'm great. Okay, so this is my shoulder seam. This is my ease.
Okay.
How cool is this?
That is very cool.
Here, under camera, recorded. Proof. I'm a good teacher. Okay, so I have 3/4. 3/4 is fine. 5/8, 3/4 is fine. Okay. So now I'm gonna mark like this, ease, and then I'm gonna take in between of this here, and this is my notch to match to my shoulder seam.
Oh, so you're not going with the actual center.
Yeah. So, and when you sew, you're gonna take your sewing machine and you're gonna ease in here, okay, to match this. And we can see how that looks, and when we fit, we'll see if we like it or not. This is my sleeve.
Oh, that makes so much sense to me now, because when I've been sewing sleeves, sometimes the one side has more